Okay, so what about the audience? Chances are you're probably going to be facilitating adults, right? And it's extremely important to know some very important elements of what adult learners expect. Okay, so if you're going to be running a workshop of adults, which is usually the case, you want to recognize that adults want to feel respected. So it's extremely important that you're respectful in the way you engage with them, that you are kind and courteous. One thing that they also like is using their names. So I will definitely recommend that you learn the names of your participants so that you can, as you're asking questions or commending someone for doing a good job or for responding correctly to a question or whatever, or even contributing to the conversation, you can use their names. Very powerful. Adults also want to use their lived experience. They come in with a wealth of experience. So you want to be able to come in there and tap into that, and tap into their experience. They want to know that you value them, that you see them. And when you do this, they're more likely to be engaged. Extremely important to remember that. Okay. So don't think that people come into the workshop completely, on a blank slate. They don't. They have a lot to offer. So one thing I always do when I start a workshop, I always ask them what they think of the topic. For example, if I were to talk about facilitation, I would say, okay, so when you hear the word facilitation, what comes to mind? Or I can say, what are your experiences with facilitation? Have you been in a good facilitated workshop before? What did it look like? Have you been in a bad one? What did that look like? I always like to ask them what the experiences have been. And when you do this, they share their stories and they feel connected immediately. Very important. Of course, when you're running a workshop, you want to make sure that whatever it is you're training on, to make it more interactive and engaging, it's extremely important that you link your content with some kind of activity. It's extremely important that the adults are doing something. Adults don't really want you to hear. They don't want you to speak forever. Like if you're talking a lot, they're like zoning out. Okay, so it's extremely important that you are actually creating a kind of an activity that allows them to connect with the content, and then they get to practice, okay, with their colleagues. So make sure you have a linked activity. And of course, the content has to be relevant. If the content is not relevant, guess what? I mean, just think about yourself. If you were in a workshop or in a meeting, or I don't know, think about your university days or high school days. Imagine your teacher teaching you something that was boring or didn't really connect with what you wanted to learn, or it was just not engaging at all. What do you think would happen? You would tune out, right? You'd be disinterested. You'd be tired. You're still having like the glazed look on your face. And trust me, if you're running a workshop where the content is not really relevant, the same thing's going to happen. So extremely important that you get to know your audience. So